So this is my go-to M4 build. It costs $7,681. Today I'm going to try to build a cheaper version of this and see how close I can still stay to the stats that I have right here. Because this was just built to get the best stats that I could possibly get to build kind of a balanced M4. Trying to keep the weight low, trying to have decent recoil control and good ergonomics. With a decent MOA. The 14.5-inch AR-15 barrel, I think, has a decent MOA. So we're going to try to build a cheaper version of this and see how close we can stay to these stats. And to help do that, I've put together an Excel file that has all of the components that you need to build the M4 listed out in different tables. So we got this table of the lower receivers, upper receivers, barrel, buffer tube, stock. Every component is listed out in tables to where I can sort them by cost or sort them by weight or the recoil or whatever stats I need that I'm trying to focus on. I can sort them by that. It just gets a little cumbersome when you're in the game and you're trying to keep track of which stats belong to which stock as you're building these. It just takes forever. So I put them all in this document to try to alleviate some of that annoyance of going back and forth between components, trying to pick the best one, trying to keep track of what weighs what costs what. So this is just a Excel file that I put together to help me with these builds. So we're going to start with the lower receiver. CQA1 is obviously the cheapest. We are trying to do kind of a budget build here, but that is only single fire. So, and it's -4 ergonomics. So the next ones up are $510. If you've watched I did a full video on all of the M4 lower receivers and their recoil patterns. The M16A1 was my favorite, and it's one of the cheaper options. I do like the DDM4 Black, but it's more than twice as much. And the L403A1 is also a really great choice, but that price tag is pretty insane. But if you're doing like a high ergo build, then maybe you want the DDM4 Black or the L403A1. I also have a video out there comparing the L403A1 to the DDM4 Black. So you can kind of see there are trade-offs with each one. So you can watch that video and see kind of where the strengths lie for the L403A1 and where the strengths are for the DDM4 Black. If you're going for higher ergonomics, you can check out that video and see which one would work best for you. But for this build, the M16A1 is the clear winner. So we'll go ahead and grab one of those, throw it in our cart. Let's see, where are those? So then that takes us to the upper receivers. And so here we're just going to kind of focus on price and weight, and the CQA1 is the clear winner on price and weight. You can get these three are lighter, but twice the cost on those, and even more on the well, obviously you need the L403A1 lower to get the L403A1 upper, but DDM4 Black would save us about 0.04 kilograms, not worth the cost compared to the CQA1. So go with the CQA1 upper receiver. Then that takes us to the barrel choice, and I think I just mentioned that I do prefer the AR-15 14.5-inch barrel with the 2.15 MOA. There is another 14.5-inch barrel, so don't get those confused. That one has a much worse MOA. So with the 14.5-inch barrel, you can see comes in at a decent price. It's a little bit more expensive than some of these other options, but you get the +2 ergonomics. Some of these longer barrels, you really start to lose ergonomics pretty quick, and you get a +5% muzzle velocity increase, and a decent weight. You could get a lighter weight if you wanted to sacrifice a little bit of MOA with the 10.5-inch barrel, but for this build, we're going to stick with the 2.15 MOA with the little bit of increase in muzzle velocity and get a little boost on ergo. With the 10.5-inch, you get a big boost on ergo. But for what we're building today, and we're trying to match that other build, we're going to stick with the AR-15 14.5-inch barrel. So let's grab one of those. So that takes us to the buffer tubes. We've got CQA1, you get -3, negative. So, I mean, that's not really an option. The M16A1 is a good price. You get a little bit of recoil control, but you can only put the M16A1 stock on it then. So you lose all these stock options. Your stock options. We're not talking money here. We're talking literal stock options. So the CQA1 and M16A1 are out for me, so that takes us to the M4. Those are just different colors. So I'll go with the M4 because it is almost $100 cheaper. Could get a little bit of a recoil boost with the KAC, but a +4 recoil boost is good enough for me for the $306 price tag. So we're going to go with that buffer tube. Throw that in our cart. So then looking at stocks, again, the CQA1, you get negative. You may as well not even put a stock on it. Well, do you have to? Is that one of the required things to shoot the gun? Not sure if you can shoot it without a stock or not, but you'd be better off not even putting a stock on it than putting that on. You're just adding weight and killing your ergo and recoil. So that takes us on to like the AR-15 nylon, but that one's pretty heavy at 0.6 kilograms. So some of these you're going a little bit higher price, but we're getting a little bit more recoil, less weight than that nylon one. But so that total, if you look at the recoil and ergo boost, you get a 6-point boost total. But if you just spend a little bit more money, then you get a 10-point boost. So you get +5 on both recoil and ergonomics. But for this gun, I'm kind of chasing that other gun. So for just a little bit more money, we can jump up to the DD Black, which is still a 10-point boost, but it kind of splits them differently, where you get 8 on the recoil and 2 on the ergo. And it's a lower weight than some of these others. Because I want to try to match the stats of that other one, I am going to spend a little bit more money here and get the DD Black. I think that'll be worth it in the long run with those stats. So let's go ahead and grab one of those. Now for the pistol grip, you know, we could just go cheapest, but we wouldn't get the stats. So some of these cheaper ones, look, you get like a +4 total boost here, +2 total here, split between ergo and recoil. And then with the MIAD, you do get a 5. But if you jump up for the same price as that one, now you get an 8-point boost with the SIG MCX. You get a +6 on ergonomics and +2 on recoil for just $204. Whereas, like, so that's the same stats as the torque grip. And on some of my ergo builds, I was using the torque grip because I didn't realize that Banshee had this option of the SIG MCX grip that would work on the M4s. I just kind of overlook that because I'm always kind of building my guns through Gunny. But Banshee does sell this grip that will fit on an M4, and you get +8-point boost for just $204, and it's lighter weight than that torque grip. So I think this SIG MCX is the clear winner for this one. So we'll go ahead and grab one of those. I do want to keep track of total cost. So we're 2431. We're going to have to switch over to Banshee, so I'm going to have to buy those right now. Go over to Banshee, grab that SIG MCX grip at 204. It's +204. And then we'll jump back over to Gunny, I think, for the rest of this. So that was pistol grip. Okay, now we get into the handguards and foregrips, and these get a little complicated. I was going to try to create a column for the attachment interface, but even that gets a little complicated because I think it depends on kind of the length of the handguard too of what foregrips will fit on it. So I kind of got caught up on this here, so I created a handguard table. I know this is going to be kind of too small for you guys to see. It's kind of a big table. I've got it listed out. So these are all the foregrips. And these are all the handguards. If it's blacked out, then that foregrip won't work with that handguard. So anywhere you see it blacked out, those will not work. I've got within that, the best stat highlighted. So if we're looking at the DDRIS 212 FSP handguard, that's going to be the best recoil stat. And well, there's 3 of them that have the 28 on the recoil stat. And then that's going to be your best ergo stat. And where you see a blue number that's the best total stat. So that you can see gets 39 points, whereas this is 34 points. This is 32 points. So if you see a blue number, that's just showing that hand grip or that foregrip mixed with that handguard is the best total stats. So if you're chasing stats and you just want to build kind of the best gun you can and you're wanting to get the most bang for your buck, well, I mean, I shouldn't say bang for buck because some of this stuff is pretty expensive. But the best, total stats within that handguard, you'll see a blue number within that grip. So if we go back and we are chasing cost here. So I've got this sorted by cost. Start looking because some of these cheaper ones you get like a +2. I think some of these like these 2 you can't put attachments on it. So if you choose this one, you can't put a grip on it. So those 2 are out for me. Oh, I think the M4 carbine, yeah, that one doesn't accept attachments either. My bad. So really, I think I'm just down. I mean, we could spend a little bit more. Get the M4 RAS. We'll take a look at the M4 RAS and the AR-15 MOE M-Lock. So between these 2, so I like the AR-15 MOE M-Lock because you can put the M-Lock AFG grip on there. And that thing's got an insane recoil stat to where we're getting 29 right there. Here we're getting 29 as well, but it's more towards Ergo because you can't put the M-Lock AFG on there. Could come out here if we're chasing recoil, but then we're only getting 19 on the recoil. And the cost is a little higher. But the cost of this grip is a little higher, which pops the total cost up right there. But the weight is so much better. 0.218 versus 0.348. So I think I got to go with the AR-15 MOE M-Lock with the M-Lock AFG grip. It's going to get us the best stats. I think that's what I'm going to go with. We'll go ahead and throw those in the cart. So the M-Lock AFG, the AR-15 M-Lock. So that's handguard and foregrip. Now, charging handle, the reload speed is still backwards. So do not buy these that have the +4. It just slows your recoil down. The lower the recoil stat, the lower the reload stat, the faster the reloading. So it's backwards from what the game tells you it is. I made a video on that too. You can check that out. So we're going to chase. We just want the lowest, lightest, cheapest, which is the CQA1 handle. So that's what we're going to grab. CQA1 handle. And then we're obviously going to grab the JPGS. We want that boost in fire rate. And we get some muzzle device efficiency, but I think the other ones do too. That one's mainly we're just grabbing that. The price difference isn't really any different than the other, but you get that fire rate boost. So we'll grab all that. So then muzzle device. You can see in my weapon stat video, the muzzle device efficiency stat doesn't really do a whole lot. The best one or the one that did the most was the hyper tap. Yeah, the hyper tap does do the best improvement for recoil, but that's really expensive and it's not much of a difference. So I don't think it makes too big of a difference to just grab this cheapie and just get a 5% on the CQ A2 flash hider. It's right there, yeah. Silencer, we're not going to silence this. Just added weight. I'm not big on silencers. I feel like people still hear me anyway. I don't know that it really makes that big of a difference. But then we just get to sights. And this is where you can spend a lot of money. Normally on my builds, I really like the Pilad red dot, but that one's $1,100, almost $1,200. But it is really lightweight, and I really like the sight picture on it. But for this build, we are just trying to go for, how cheap can we go? So this cheapie right here, this Cobra that you get from Turncoat, it's actually not too bad. It is a lot heavier than the Pilad, but the sight picture isn't bad on it. It's a little worse than the Pilad, but I actually don't mind this one. So for what we're doing right now, I feel like this is the best choice. So we'll go ahead and grab that Cobra and throw it on there. And we're going to have to buy this. So 1624, add that. So we're up just over 4,000 right now. And then we know that is 680 on that next. So we're under 5,000. That's really good. Hang on. So the 5,000 compared to, or under 5,000 compared to 7,681 on the other build. So we've saved a lot of money building it this way. So let's go ahead and grab that sight, and then we'll compare all the stats on those guns. So there's the Cobra. So now let's go ahead and throw it all together. All right, so let's compare. So weight, we did pretty good. We're a little bit heavier, and that's going to be all because of that sight. But we're only like 0.1 kilograms heavier. Not bad at all. We're actually better on the MOA because that hyper tap muzzle brake that I was talking about actually gives you a negative 10% on the accuracy. So you're getting a little bit more recoil control, but you're sacrificing a little bit on the MOA. Not a ton, so I mean, it's not really a big deal. So that's normally what I run. Because 2.37 MOA is it's good enough for this type of rifle. If I was building more of a marksman rifle, you want to try to get that number down a little bit. But for this type of rifle, I'm perfectly accepting of that negative 10%. So we get a little bit better accuracy on this gun, so that's pretty good. Same fire rate. The recoil control, 38 versus 47, so we lost 9%, but still, that's not too bad. And we'll test these. I'll do sprays with each of these, and we'll see how they perform. Muzzle device efficiency is way lower, but like I said, you can check out my video where I did do testing and showed that this really doesn't make much of a difference, so I'm not torn up about having way less on the muzzle device efficiency. Not a big deal. We have the same barrel, so muzzle velocity is going to be the same. The ergonomics, we did lose 10%, but plus 19%, we were able to hold on to a decent ergonomic stat. So really, we just lost 10% on ergo and 9% on recoil, but it was $2,800, like $2,800 cheaper. So that's pretty dang good. That's a little bit heavier, but we get a little bit better MOA. So let's do a little bit of testing with these and see, what. So this gun's $2,800 more. We'll be able to see like what the performance increase is on this gun versus our cheaper gun here. So I'll buy some magazines, buy some ammo, and from here we'll do some testing on these. Okay, so both really good recoil patterns. You can definitely see that the more expensive one does have a little bit better total vertical recoil, but still, this is completely livable. I mean, that's not bad. It's still straight up, um, very controllable. So we probably have a little bit slower ADS because of that ergo stat being slightly different. I'll throw those numbers up once I evaluate that. I have to do that in editing. I only shot 30 rounds out of both of these guns, and you can see that this upper receiver is deteriorating faster than the more expensive upper receiver. So that shows me I should do some testing, and I can add a column into my chart here so we can see which upper receivers kind of last the longest and see if it's worth the money. So this one is showing to be a little bit more durable than the CQA one, but it is twice the money. So if this deteriorates at twice the speed of this one, then maybe this one would then be worth getting, or maybe there'd be a this one would have to deteriorate more than twice as fast for this to still not be a better one to grab, because even if it deteriorates twice as fast, sure, you have to replace it more often, but you're still paying the same. So if you have to replace this one twice for the amount of time that this one lasts, still half the cost. So you're not really out anything. Just the annoyance of having to repair it all the time. So I think I'm going to start actually building this one, the cheaper one, because I build these for PvP and I spend almost $8,000 on this and then run in there and die with it immediately and basically give away a brand new gun. So seeing the performance of this one for $2,800 less, I think I'm going to just build a stack of these and take these into these PvP fights because I don't mind that sight. The gun performs pretty similarly to this one, and it's significantly less money. So I think I'm going to start building these. I'm going to do a bunch more of these build videos. You know, I'll build some for with ergonomics in mind, with recoil in mind, build using this chart. So you can look forward to some of those videos. But for this one, I think this is the winner as far as for PvP fights. Now, if I'm just doing PvE, I think I'm just gonna stick with this one because I don't really lose these guns very often in PvE. I mean, I don't play PvE servers, but I'm just saying if I'm like not knowingly going into a PvP fight, then I'm gonna be taking this. Um, but if I'm like, you know, say I get killed by a player and I'm going back in to kind of seek revenge, I'm going to take one of these in because it's less risk to lose. Because I've lost a ton of money just getting my ass kicked in PvP. So that's why I wanted to see if I could build something for significantly less money, but still have the same performance. And I think we succeeded with that. So I think this is a pretty decent build for going into PvP fights. So yeah, look for more of these videos. Thanks for watching.